Hey, I'm not even sure why I'm telling you this. I guess sometimes you just have to say things out loud to believe they're real. My name is Alex. I'm 22 years old, living in a small, quiet community just outside Seattle. I work part-time at an auto shop while finishing my last year of college. My life's pretty ordinary. I suppose great friends, a decent job, a mom who worries too much, and a bunch of small dreams like traveling, owning a house someday, maybe starting my own business. But there's one person in my life who's anything but ordinary. Her name is Claire. Uh, Claire is my mom's friend, not a childhood pal or someone from way back, but someone she's known for a few years. She's 46, just a few years younger than my mom, and honestly, that's part of what made me see her differently. She started coming to our house when I was about 18. The first time I saw her, she had this energy, effortless confidence, warmth. I couldn't stop looking at her. At first, I told myself I was being stupid. She's my mom's friend. How could I think like that? But over time, I knew it wasn't just a crush. I admired everything about her, her humor, her strength, her kindness, the way she faced life's challenges. Claire's been married 3 times. None of them worked out. She talks about it casually, almost jokingly, like she doesn't want anyone to pity her. She can't have kids, and I know that must have caused her pain, but she never shows it. She says life's too short to dwell on what could have been. That's just who she is. No matter how tough things got, she stayed positive, always lifting those around her. And I just sat there soaking in every word. Um, I was struck by how she talked about life, her travels, her mistakes, her lessons. It scared me how much I noticed about her. How her eyes lit up when she laughed, the little wrinkles around her smile, the grace in her movements, even when she was just making coffee in our kitchen. I fell hard for her, and no matter how much I told myself to stop, I couldn't. I knew I was in deep. I thought about her at odd times, replaying conversations in my head, wondering what she was doing when she wasn't at our house. But I never said anything. I was terrified of ruining everything, convincing myself I was imagining it, that she didn't see me that way. Don't be an idiot, Alex, I'd tell myself. Then came the night that changed everything. Claire was over for dinner with my mom as she did every couple of weeks. They laughed, talked about work recipes, random gossip. I barely said a word, just watched her quietly admiring how she filled the room with her energy. When it got late, she stood to leave. My mom was busy cleaning the kitchen, so I offered to walk Claire to the door. My heart was racing the whole time. I kept thinking, don't say anything, just say goodnight and walk away. But at the door, I couldn't hold back. I don't know where the courage came from. Maybe I was tired of pretending. Maybe I just couldn't take it anymore. I looked at her and said softly, "You look beautiful tonight." Claire froze for a split second. She looked at me, and I thought I'd made a huge mistake. Then she smiled a smile that felt like it was just for me, leaned closer and whispered, "You're braver than I thought." Adam, I didn't move, didn't speak. Just stood there stunned. That one sentence felt like a door opening. Was she teasing? Did she know how I felt? Or was it just an innocent comment? I wasn't sure, but one thing was clear. I wasn't imagining the connection anymore. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, my mind racing. What did she mean? Was she saying she noticed me too? Was this my chance? I knew I had to find out, and the next step was up to me. I couldn't sleep replaying her words. "You're braver than I thought." What did she mean? Was it a playful remark? Or had she seen me the way I'd seen her for years? My heart and head were at war. Oh! For the next couple of days, I avoided the kitchen. When my mom was on the phone, scared she'd mention Claire, and I wouldn't know how to handle it. I even started doubting myself, thinking I'd imagined everything, but I couldn't let it go. Something deep down told me that moment meant something, that Claire was waiting for me to speak up. I spent an evening drafting a text, deleting and rewriting it, staring at the screen for hours. I knew I couldn't just ask her out directly. That'd be too bold, too risky. If she said no, I wouldn't be able to face her or my mom again. So I planned carefully. I wrote a casual message like it was meant for someone else. "Hey, you free for coffee sometime this week?" I stared at it, my thumb hovering over the send button. If she ignored it or said no, I could play it off as a mistake. With my pulse racing, I finally sent it, hoping she'd say yes. So, I stared at the screen like a maniac. Seconds felt like hours. 10 minutes passed nothing. Then 15. My chest tightened. You idiot, what were you thinking? Then my phone buzzed. I nearly dropped it grabbing it. Sure, let me know what day works best for you. I read it 20 times to believe it was real. She'd said yes. The next few days were torture. I wanted to text her immediately, but waited a few hours to avoid seeming desperate. We agreed to meet on a Saturday afternoon at a small coffee shop 2 towns over where no one from our neighborhood would see us. I got there early, sitting by the window, nervously tapping my fingers on my coffee cup, watching every car pull into the lot. I kept wondering, what if she changes her mind? What if this is a huge mistake? Then I saw her. Claire stepped out of her car in jeans and a simple top, looking as effortlessly beautiful as always. She walked in, saw me, and gave that warm, knowing smile that had haunted my dreams all week. She sat across from me, brushing her hair behind her ear. I was wondering if you'd follow through, she teased. I grinned, hands sweating. Wasn't sure you'd show up. She looked me in the eyes. I knew I would. I just needed to know if you'd actually ask. I laughed, awkward but relieved, nervous but thrilled. The conversation started slow, safe topics like the weather, our first days of school. I told her about finishing my degree and working at the shop. She shared that she'd taken up photography as a hobby. But after a bit, she leaned forward and said, "You really think I didn't notice how you look at me?" I froze, my face burning. What? She smiled gently, not mocking, but understanding. Alex, we women know these things. You can't hide it from us. I've known for a while. I swallowed hard, my heart pounding. I'm sorry if I made you uncomfortable. I never meant to cross any lines. She waved a hand to stop me. You didn't. That's why I never said anything. I didn't want to embarrass you or complicate things with your mom. But I'm here now, aren't I? I stared speechless. I'd imagined this moment, rehearsed 100 things to say, but my mind went blank. I couldn't hold back anymore. I tried to ignore it, I blurted out, to tell myself it was stupid, but I really like you, Claire. I have for a long time. Her expression softened. She reached out, brushing my hand across the table. I know, Alex, and I like you too. You're sweet, genuine, brave. We sat there smiling quietly at each other. For the first time in years, the tension between us eased. It wasn't unspoken or impossible anymore. It was real. As we left the coffee shop, she paused and gave me a serious look. I'm not promising anything. We're in new territory here. We have to be careful. But I'm willing to see where this goes if you are. I nodded without hesitation. I am. She smiled. Good. Then let's take it one day at a time. Walking back to my car felt lighter than air. For the first time, I let myself believe something real could happen between us. I knew there'd be challenges, questions, risks, but I didn't care. I was finally where I'd wanted to be for so long by her side. The days after our coffee meeting were the longest of my life. I couldn't focus on anything schoolwork, even my friends. My mind kept drifting to Claire, her smile across that small table, her fingers brushing mine, casual but deliberate. I kept wondering if it was real or a beautiful dream I didn't want to wake from. I didn't want to push or scare her off, but I also didn't want to waste the chance it took me years to get. I kept replaying her words. We have to be careful, but I'm willing to see where this goes. So I waited a few days. On the fourth day, I texted her simple, "Hey, hope you're having a good day. Wondering if you'd want to meet up again. No pressure, just a walk or coffee home." Her reply came 15 minutes later. How about a walk tomorrow afternoon? I know a favorite park about 20 minutes out of town. Nobody ever goes there. I smiled so hard my face hurt. The next afternoon, I got to the park early. It was tucked behind old trees by a small lake, quiet, serene, almost too perfect. I stood by the water, nervously bouncing my knee until I heard her car door shut. I turned and there she was, walking toward me in jeans, a light jacket, and that familiar warm smile. We started walking side by side, not talking at first, just a comfortable silence. I stole glances at her when I thought she wasn't looking. Finally, she broke the quiet. I almost didn't come, she said softly. Why, I asked. Because it's complicated, Alex. I'm not some random woman you met at a bar. I'm your mom's friend. There's a lot at stake. I stopped walking and gently took her hand. She tensed for a moment, then relaxed. Claire, I know, I've thought about it 1,000 times. I'm not naive. I know this is risky that some people wouldn't understand, but I also know how I feel about you, and I think you feel the same or you wouldn't be here. She sighed, squeezing my hand. You're right, I wouldn't. Uh, we kept walking. I asked about her photography. She told me about a recent trip to the coast, how she loved capturing waves crashing against cliffs. I shared about school, how I was thinking of switching majors but wasn't sure what I wanted yet. It felt so natural, so easy. At one point, we sat on a bench by the water, the sun setting, casting a golden glow across the lake. Claire stared out, lost in thought. You've grown up a lot, she said. When I first met you, you were this shy kid just out of high school. I never imagined I'd be sitting here with you. I'm glad you are, I said without thinking. She smiled and shook her head. You're so brave, Alex. There it was again, brave. That word had become our little signal. We sat there for what felt like hours. She stood, eventually brushing off her clothes. I should go. I stood too, not wanting the moment to end. Claire, I hesitated. Can I see you again? She looked at me for a long time before answering. Yes, but one condition: we keep this between us. Nobody knows, not yet. I understand. She leaned in close enough for me to smell her faint perfume and whispered, Good, I love having something that's just ours. My pulse raced as I walked her to her car. She turned and smiled as she got in. Text me tomorrow. I watched her drive away, feeling like I was floating. I knew what we were doing was risky, maybe dangerous, but I didn't care. I just wanted to see her again. Over the next few weeks, our meetings became more regular. We'd meet in out-of-the-way places, a small bookstore downtown, a quiet hiking trail, or a drive to the mountains where we'd sit in her car and talk for hours. Every goodbye made me want to kiss her, but I didn't. I was scared of upsetting the delicate balance we had. One night after dinner, as I walked her to her car, she stopped me. Alex, yeah. She looked at me under the warm glow of a streetlight. I know what you're thinking. I froze. What? She smiled. You want to kiss me? I swallowed hard. Yeah. She stepped closer, her voice soft but steady. Not yet. Soon. I promise. My heart was pounding, but I nodded. Okay. She brushed her fingers along my jaw for a moment. You're braver than I thought. With that, she drove off, leaving me stunned and breathless. I knew then that whatever this was, it was real. It was happening, and I'd do whatever it took to keep it safe. The next few weeks were the strangest of my life. Claire and I settled into an unspoken rhythm, late-night texts, short calls. When we knew my mom wasn't around, impromptu plans to meet somewhere we wouldn't be recognized. I lived for those moments. My phone would buzz in class or at the shop. You free tonight, or meet me at our usual spot? My heart would race and I'd drop everything to see her smile, hear her laugh, feel the spark only she could ignite. One Friday, Claire suggested something bold. Let's get out of town for the night, she said. I know a small coastal motel, quiet, nobody will know us. I stared at the message, barely breathing. It felt like a line was about to be crossed, but I was ready. I typed back, tell me where and I'll be there. I drove 2 hours along winding coastal roads, my palms sweating the whole way. The modest motel sat on a bluff overlooking the ocean, not fancy but intimate, perfect. I parked and sat in the car, trying to calm my nerves. When I got out, Claire was leaning against her car in jeans and a soft black sweater, her hair blowing gently in the breeze. She smiled warmly. You made it. I nodded, too nervous to speak. We checked in together. The woman at the desk didn't even look up as she handed us the keys, like the universe was giving us permission to be here just for one night. The room was simple but nice, one queen bed, a window overlooking the ocean, the sound of waves crashing below. Claire dropped her overnight bag by the door and sat on the bed's edge, kicking off her shoes. I stood awkwardly by the window. I've never done anything like this, I admitted. She gave a gentle, knowing smile. Neither have I. Why? We got takeout and ate on the bed, laughing at how bad the food was, but how perfect the night still felt. We talked for hours, her failed marriages, The pain of not being able to have kids, my dreams for the future, my fear of losing her if anyone found out. As the night wore on, the conversation slowed the room quieter, the sound of waves filling the silence. Claire set her glass on the nightstand and looked at me intently. Alex, she said softly, I want you to know something. I've been through a lot, loved, been hurt, lost more than I ever thought I could. I don't want anything heavy or hard right now. I just want to enjoy whatever this is between us for however long it lasts. I nodded understanding. I'm not asking for promises, Claire. I just want to be with you, even if it's just for now. She smiled and reached for my hand. Come here. I sat beside her, heart pounding. She gently brushed my hair back from my face, her fingertips soft, warm. You're a good man, Alex, she whispered. You've given me something I thought was gone forever, the feeling of being valued for who I am not, who someone wants me to be. That was the moment we crossed the line we'd been dancing around for weeks. We kissed soft at first, then deeper, as weeks of tension and need melted into the sound of waves outside. I won't say what happened next. Some things belong to the people who live them. All I know is it wasn't about passion or rebellion. It was about connection, comfort, something painfully real and right in a world that wouldn't understand. The next morning we woke tangled in soft white sheets, sunlight slipping through thin curtains, casting golden patterns on her bare shoulder. I watched her trying to memorize every detail, afraid this might be the last time I'd have something so beautiful. But when she opened her eyes and smiled, I knew it wasn't. We checked out early, barely talking, both knowing we were heading back to reality. Before we parted, she pulled me into a tight hug. This doesn't change anything, she said. We still have to be careful. Nobody can know, Alex. I'm not ready for your mom or anyone else to find out. Are you okay with that? I held her close. I'm more than okay. I'll keep our secret whatever it takes. She kissed my cheek softly and smiled. Good, then we keep it ours. As I watched her drive off down the coastal road, I knew I had no idea where this would lead. No labels, no guarantees, no expectations. But I'd never been happier. Bye. The drive home was long and quiet. I didn't turn on the radio or call anyone. I just drove, staring at the winding road, the sound of tires on pavement, and Claire's warm smile lingering in my mind. I knew life was about to get more complicated. We'd crossed a line you can't uncross, and while I didn't regret a moment, I knew we couldn't stay in that beautiful bubble forever. Reality was waiting. For the next few days, we kept our distance, not planned. We just didn't say anything. We texted small things. Hope you were having a good day. Miss you. Stay safe. We both knew we needed time to process what had happened. I wondered what it'd be like to see her again. Would it be awkward? Would she regret it? Would she pull away? About a week later, I got a text. You free tonight? Can we talk? I drove to her place after dark, my heart racing the whole way. When I pulled into her driveway, the porch light was off, the house quiet. I texted her and the door opened almost instantly. Claire stood there in simple lounge clothes, hair tied up, no makeup. She'd never looked more beautiful. Come in, she said softly. I stepped inside and we went to the kitchen. She handed me a glass of water and leaned against the counter arms, crossed her eyes serious but warm. We need to talk, Alex. I nodded. I know. She took a deep breath. I don't regret what happened, not for a second. But we can't let this get out of control. If anyone finds out your mom, my friends, people in this town, it'll be a mess for both of us. They won't understand. They'll twist it into something ugly, and I don't want that for you or me. But I nodded. I've been thinking about it too. She stepped closer, taking my hands in hers. I want to keep seeing you, Alex. I want this. But only if you're okay keeping it between us. No public dates, no slip-ups, no telling friends or family. I know it's a lot to ask, but I need to protect my life, my privacy, and you. I looked into her eyes and said the one thing I knew was true. I don't care about labels. I don't care if nobody else knows. I just want to be with you, even if it means keeping it a secret. She smiled, that soft, grateful smile I'd fallen for. You're braver than I thought. We both laughed quietly, realizing how those words had started it all. That night, we didn't cross any lines. We sat on her couch side by side, talking about her failed marriages. My post-college goals, books, movies, childhood memories. It was simple, and it was enough. Over the next 6 months, we perfected our secret. We met at out-of-town diners parks where no one we knew went her house late at night when my mom was working late shifts. We never stayed long, always careful. Sometimes we just sit in her car by the coast holding hands, watching the waves. We'd take long walks under the stars, talking about everything and nothing. I had moments where I wanted to tell the world how I felt about her. I hated sneaking around pretending I barely knew her when she came to our house to see my mom. But every time I started to doubt, Claire would look at me, squeeze my hand, and say, "This is ours. Nobody can take it from us." Why? We never made long-term plans, never talked about the future. We both knew what we had was fragile, like glass, beautiful, precious, but easily broken if we weren't careful. One night after a perfect evening driving through the countryside, I pulled over and turned off the engine. The car sat in total darkness, save for faint moonlight through the windshield. I looked at her and asked, "Do you think this will last?" She stared out at the fields for a long time before answering. "I don't know. I haven't thought about forever, Alex. I've learned life never gives you exactly what you expect. All I know is I'm happy right now. Are you?" I smiled. "Yeah, I am." "Then let's just be in the moment," she said. "That's all that matters." So that's what we did. We stayed in the moment, no expectations, no guarantees, just two people who'd found something real in the unlikeliest of circumstances. Yeah, nobody knows even now. Not my mom, my friends, our coworkers, just us. We still don't know what the future holds. Maybe someday we'll go public, maybe we won't. Maybe this will last for years, or maybe it'll end quietly like it began. But I don't think about it anymore. She taught me to cherish what I have right now. Every time I see her, every secret glance we share, every time her fingers brush mine, when no one's looking, I'm reminded of that first moment at the door when she smiled and said, "You're braver than I thought." Hmm. Alex and Claire's story reminds us that true bravery is embracing our real feelings even when the world might not understand. At 22, Alex, a college student with a quiet life, had a deep admiration for Claire, his mom's vibrant 46-year-old friend. Despite the age gap and social risks, his bold statement, "You look beautiful tonight," sparked a connection that grew into a secret, heartfelt bond. Their hidden moments, from coastal getaways to late-night talks, show that love and connection don't need society's approval to be real. Alex's courage in confessing his feelings and Claire's openness to something new inspire us to follow our hearts even when we fear judgment. Their story is about cherishing what feels right in the moment, not defying rules for the sake of rebellion. In a world quick to label and divide, Alex and Claire encourage us to take risks for the connections that make us feel alive, to prioritize the present over the what-ifs. Life's most beautiful moments often happen when we dare to be vulnerable, trusting that authenticity will lead the way. How did Alex and Claire's story teach you about courage and love? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear them. If this story moved you, please subscribe and join our community for more inspiring, heartfelt stories. Let's keep chasing what's real. The story of Alex and Claire teaches us a powerful lesson about the courage to embrace authentic feelings, even when they defy societal norms. Alex's bold admission of admiration for Claire, his mother's friend, and their choice to nurture a secret, heartfelt connection highlight the bravery required to follow one's heart despite risks and potential judgment. Their story shows that love and connection don't need external validation to be real. They thrive in quiet, honest moments like stolen glances or late-night talks. Claire's openness to something new despite her past heartaches and Alex's willingness to protect their fragile bond remind us that life's most meaningful relationships often require vulnerability and sacrifice. The tension of keeping their love hidden underscores the importance of cherishing what feels true, even when it's complicated, and living fully in the present without being weighed down by what-ifs. Their journey is a testament to the idea that authenticity and connection are worth pursuing no matter the obstacles. This story resonates because it captures the raw, exhilarating, and sometimes painful reality of love that exists outside conventional boundaries. Have you ever taken a risk for a connection that felt right, despite the odds? Share your experiences in the comments. We'd love to hear how courage and love have shaped your life. If this story touched you, hit that subscribe button and join our community for more heartfelt tales that explore the beauty of human connection. Let's keep inspiring each other to embrace what's real and live bravely.